welcome back to my channel, Graceful Art Designs. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different, using the same colours that I used to blow out a painting of my cat Katie Pickles, but using a square panel this time, which is what I should have used in the first place. When I did her painting, I used a small rectangular painting, so it didn't exactly work because I've poured the colours out in circles. So I'll show you now. So these are the colours, the same colours I used for Katie. Starting with a mixture of burnt umber and burnt sienna in the middle, then silver, and then black, and then again the burnt sienna mixture, and then silver, black, and yellow ochre was the colour I was thinking of. I also have yellow, Naples yellow, but I'm not using that. That was just for softening up the white if I wanted to turn the white into a creamy colour. Again, the same colours kind of repeated, but not exactly. I'm just depending on what I thought I needed more of. Here, too much silver came out, for example, and I put a bit of yellow over it. And the base is white. The base more or less covered everything, but not completely, but it's okay, it'll blow over, hopefully. And underneath I've put two more coasters that I want to cover. So as I tilted the white, some of the white went down on, and now when I blow out, more will go down. And if it doesn't blow out exactly the way I want, which it probably won't, then I will just tilt it again onto those coasters. It blew out quite nicely, but because I used my old hairdryer, I think, which is on its last legs, it seemed to blow the white over everything, and you couldn't really see much of the colours, except it left a lot of brown in the centre, and that was on the low setting. So then I turned it on high, and that really blew everything all over like it did in my pink flamingos. So I like this better, and I think when it settles, the dark will come through. So now I've got a number of options. I'm just trying to see if that's the canvas I see showing through or not. Do I need to add more paint? I really can't say. But I mean, I have some ideas. I'm starting this painting differently, not with a definite idea, just wanting to use these colours because they're so pretty. So when it settles, I can either turn it into a forest, which I think it would be suited to, or I could turn it into just two little logs and two little brown owls sitting on it. You've seen me paint brown owls with oil paints, and those have sold, so I need to replace them. So why not do them with acrylic? So that's one option, and then the other's the forest, the trees. And then of course I could do another peacock, and this time the peacock will ultimately be in white, although I will use the colours inside it to form the background and also to be part of the feathers, because white peacocks are not completely white. So those are my options, and while it settles I will consider all of them. And let me know what you think in the comments. Have you tried any of my intentional pours? Do you think it's an interesting way of using acrylic pouring? And yeah, just let me know your thoughts. Bye for now. So I quickly moved the painting down onto the floor, which is flatter and straighter hopefully than the table, and it looks like it's settling nicely. Still haven't decided what to do with it. I don't see any runoff, but I also used the leftovers to cover the two coasters, two big dinner plate coasters, and the colours are so lovely. Honestly, I think that tilting the colours, because that's what I did once, I just scooped up the teaspoons and put them on, dripped them onto the coasters, and then I tilted the coasters in all directions and let the rest run off. There was a lot that ran off. Actually, the table is still full, and they make such lovely colours, such lovely colour mixtures. Look at that deep chocolate with all the other colours in there, the yellow, the white, the silver, bits of black. Actually, the black is not very dominant, surprisingly enough. I think only if you use black as a base colour will it be dominant. If you use white, the white covers everything more or less, except for that whole big section of chocolate brown, which is very nice. So just ideas for what you can do with your leftover paints. You could even cover a tray, or other plastic item that you have in your home that you don't like the look of, don't like the colour of. Like you could cover pot containers, for example. So yeah, it's terrible to just see all of these drips going nowhere, and putting them underneath the canvas, and then so when you tilt straight onto the coaster or whatever object you have. Is to me easier than trying to lift up the pieces of plastic afterwards, the skins, and then having to glue them onto something and fit on all the different pieces in different sizes, because they don't always come out in one complete piece, especially if you have moved things around a bit, then the paint is a bit broken up. I've waited for almost an hour now, and I've decided that I'm going to paint or outline 2 snowy owls. Since snowy owls are predominantly white with touches of brown, unlike the little owls which were predominantly brown and with touches of white feathers. So this is the perfect colour combination. However, it is already the evening and I don't have very good lighting, so I'm going to just do a very, very minimal sort of diagram, because I don't want to be to draw lines that I will later regret. And so I'm going to try to look at a photo of a snowy owl while talking on the camera and see if that will work. So the video went off and I wasn't able to record while I was outlining, but this is the outline of the one snowy owl, and again, very difficult to do with a phone in your hand, and but it's okay. It's just basically showing me where it's going to go. This side I like more. There's more white on this side. And it's going to be in a forest. So this looks lovely, like a forest. And pine trees. And I don't have to draw in the pine trees. I mean, the background will just be the forest. I might put in some, some markings of trees, like here. Like the outlines of this, of the trunks. But yeah, it seems like it's going to settle. So I'll try again, see if the camera will stay. So here's what the outline has ended up looking like there. 2 snowy owls. I hope I can still see them. Figure them out in the morning. There's the other one. And those are snowy covered trees in the background, and here are some bigger branches around them, some big fine fir trees, pine trees, whatever they are. So snowy owls inhabit the Arctic regions, and presumably there are fir trees there. And so that's what this is. I think it's a perfect snowy scene. It could have been anything. I think it's going to look lovely when I colour in these outlines. And needless to say, the owls I will do in white, and the trees I might put a bit of brown in between just to make them more visible. But I will leave that for the morning. So the painting has now dried, and I've already added a layer of white over the one snowy owl, and I'm going to add a little on this one. This one has a lot more white in him, but also a bit of the brown. And I want to create that sort of feathery look, but while at the same time retaining these colours that are in the birds, because they are so pretty. It's a bit difficult with these liquid paws. I mean, the liquid paint. It's not exactly going to make the markings that I want. So their claws or their talons are very, very white, covered in a layer of white feathers, and quite big. So I'll just do those. From what I saw in the photos anyway. I mean, it's so hard to see in these little photographs. So yeah, I didn't really see much on this side. Now his head definitely needs to be a bit whiter there. The paint is not coming off thick enough. And then his eyes will be yellow, and the beak will be a dark brown. I think I'll just wipe that away. There's too much there. And I think I've mentioned on one of my other paintings you can wipe away with in a paper towel, but sometimes some of the paint stays. And what I like about using oils is that it's easier to wipe away the oils. You just wipe away with a wet wipe. Now, if I used a wet wipe on this acrylic pour, it might eat up the colours underneath, because there is a bit of alcohol in the acrylic pour. So I don't use the wet wipes on the canvases where I've used acrylic pours. What are you doing, my kitty? What are you scratching around now? She's always up to something. From waking me up at 4 o'clock in the morning, leaving me utterly exhausted and broken, fighting with my other kitty, who she just is so jealous of. So either I'll have to just do another layer of feathers like that, or I'll have to add a layer of oil afterwards. This seems to be working. I don't want to just cover it too much, because I like those colours underneath. I mean, that's the whole idea of intentional pouring and repurposing your Dutch pours to make something more, is to enjoy the lovely colours of the blowouts. And I mean, they come in, there's no ways that you could ever paint a background like that. It's just impossible. So that's what I want to retain.